cannot tell you how many times I've heard the words, "I don't know what to do next in my career." I hear it from all kinds of people. I've heard it from people with physically straining jobs who feel like they just can't physically do what they're doing into their later years. I hear it from people with mentally straining jobs that want to simplify their life. I hear it from people who are just plain working way too many hours. I hear it from people who are bored even. They're wondering, how do I inspire myself again? And I said it myself. Now, I grew up always wanting to be a creative director, and I achieved that goal. But once I had done it for several years, then I was wondering, what next? How do I grow? Well, I figured out how to successfully transition into my next career, and that's what I want to share with you. My name's Yvonne Lyons, and I've read hundreds of books and consumed other media on leadership and development. I take the nuggets of wisdom that I've learned, give a little test drive, and then if I find it beneficial, then I'll share it. Now, this subject in particular, finding work that inspires you, I know is beneficial to so many people that I've turned it into an online course. And in this video today, I want to share with you a piece of that course. It's the brainstorming bit of it. And in this clip, you'll see me go through a few games that you can get warmed up to get into that brainstorm spirit, and I'll go through a whole bunch of questions that will hopefully inspire you to think of some possibilities for your next career. Here's the clip. Okay, it's ideas time. Now, this is my favorite part. I think it's really fun. If you don't, that's okay. We're all different. Now, for this brainstorm to really work well, I need you to go nuts. Go wild with your thinking. Divergent thinking means thinking outside of the box. I don't want you to hold yourself back or edit yourself. Here's why. Let's say one of your thoughts is, I want to build a house on Mars. You would just put that out there. You don't have to worry about how crazy it is or who's going to read it or anything. You want to build a house on Mars, then just put it down. Now, when we get to the refinement stage, you might find that what you like about that building a house on Mars thought is that you want to build something, a home for people in an environment where things are struggling and maybe underdeveloped, and you really want to explore that sort of area. So it started with a house on Mars, and that's triggered some thinking that you may not think of if you didn't start with that house on Mars thought. So please go crazy and write down anything that comes to mind. Now, I'm going to read you some questions that are going to help you think about some things in a different way, hopefully. And even though you've just said, yeah, okay, I get it, go crazy, don't edit myself, you're probably still going to do it a little bit. So I've come up with a few games to help you out with this brainstorm. The first game is to time yourself. I want you to try and get as many answers to these questions out in a certain amount of time. So say 1 minute per question. There's 12 questions, so you've got 12 minutes to get as many answers out as you possibly can. That's game number 1. So see if that works for you. In game number 2, I want you to not worry about the timing, instead go for quantity. How many answers can you put down per question? There's a spot there for 9 per question. See if you can get at least 100. That's almost 9 per question, and with a couple in there for if you can't think of something. But you can Google answers, you can ask friends, you can get somebody to help you. Don't worry about timing, just get as many as possible. So game number 2 is about quantity. Now here's game number 3. Sometimes when you write something down, it feels like a commitment. So let's bypass that commitment altogether, and instead of writing it down, grab, most smartphones have a recording device, any recording device, and just say it out loud. Whatever your answer is, say it out loud, and it's sometimes easier to not edit yourself when you're talking rather than when you're writing. So there's a few ideas on how you can help make this brainstorm a little bit easier. And I am going to read through the questions for you. In that time, I'll also flash up some pictures that might lead you somewhere. You can interpret it any way that you want. But if that doesn't work for you and you would rather just do one of the games that I mentioned and then skip to the next video, that is fine as well. Okay, let's start with the questions. What would you do if money weren't a factor? Number 2, what social causes would you like to support through work? 3, what did you like to do and contribute when you were a teenager? 4, what subjects do you talk about, read, watch, or listen to? 5, what companies or people would you like to work with? 6, if you had your own business, what would it be? 7, what general areas do you enjoy? Health, finance, sales, creative, education, that sort of thing. 8, if you stayed in your current job, how could you expand it? 9, do you have any hobbies that could turn into work? 10, what do your friends think you should do? 11, what emerging possibilities didn't exist when you started your career? And 12, what low-stress jobs interest you? Dog walker, cafe clerk, yoga instructor, etc. Okay, be sure to take the time that you need in this brainstorm session. Bring in whatever resources you need as well. And when you're ready, then I will see you in the next video. Okay, I hope that helped spark some ideas for you. Now in the course we also do some foundational work, some self-awareness work, so you know what your interests are before going into that brainstorm. And then after the brainstorm we do some refinement and try to make some of those ideas more realistic and figure out how to get our foot in the door to experiment with it before diving in. If you're interested in finding out more, you can find that course, Career 2.0, Find Work That Inspires You, on SmartLife.tips.